A and S. I imagine the world of head and neck cancer research completely transformed by Tin Tin Su. Our guest today is a virtuoso of scholarly inquiry whose lab and biotech company have uncovered innovative approaches to cancer treatments that help reduce the likelihood cancer will return. Beyond the science, Tin Tin is packed with perspective on how she wants to lead a fulfilling life. And on today's episode, she drops more wisdom than producer Tim can handle. I can't imagine 1970s staying alive John Travolta as Tintin's spirit animal. And yet, on today's episode, she discusses how Travolta in his tight white bell-bottom tuxedo beams like a galaxy of confidence that her teenage self hoped to discover. Listeners, I never thought I would fangirl so hard for fruit flies and Tintin's capacity to anticipate and sojourn in the immediate moment. Maybe, at this moment, Tintin is walking Boulder's streets in the same flared-out polyester, noting critical subtleties that could bring lasting change. On the Ampersand, we call this bringing together of the impossible the alchemy of anding. Together, we'll hear stories of humans who imagine and create by colliding their interests. Rather than thinking of and as a simple conjunction in that conjunction-junction kind of way, we will hear stories of people who see and as a verb, a way to speak the beautiful when you intentionally let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. As St. Mary Oliver asks, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? Oh, I love this question. When I'm mothering, creating, and collaborating, it reminds me to replace a singular idea of what I think I should become with a full sensory verb about experiencing. I'm Erika Randall, and this is Tin Tin Su on the Ampersand.
Now we do have very precise ways of delivering radiation so that most of it hits the cancer cells, but there's always a sort of bystanders or even the surrounding tissue that, because, you do want to get all of it, cancer, so you end up treating some of the neighboring tissues also. So one use of the technology that we're working on would be to combine it with radiation. And what the data support is that the drug candidates that we're working on can prevent tumors from coming back after radiation.
Which then would make you have to go back and back and back with treatment.
Exactly. So it's not so much like taking away the side effects of radiation or anything like that, because I think, it is at present that we just have to use it.
Yeah, but decreasing the amount.
Sometimes decreasing the amount, but also more important, not having to go back for like another round or a recurrence of the tumor. Yeah.
Okay, you are my hero. Do you have other siblings, and are they in the sciences?
I do. Yeah, I have quite a few. So, yes, there are 6 of us altogether, and I also have 3 half siblings.
Wow.
So, and we saw limited amount of the half siblings, but I did grow up with 6, and then I also have 1 adopted brother.
So you have all of these siblings. Were you all in Burma together? And then did you come to the States on your own? I want to know about that journey and what it was like to leave such a big family.
Yeah, certainly. So we were all in Burma until I was in high school. Okay. So, and then my father got a job with the World Health Organization.
So he also a scientist?
He's a doctor and also has a degree in public health. And so he was then posted to Bangladesh. Okay. So we left Burma after I was in 9th grade, and all of us, in the sense that all my immediate siblings, 6 of us, plus 1 adopted brother, went and lived in Bangladesh.
Wow.
We lived there for a total of 6 years. And during that time, I went to a boarding school in India called Woodstock School.
Yes.
We talk a little bit about that.
Well, because producer Tim is obsessed and wanted to go to Woodstock.
Yeah, it's a great place.
You described it. I just watched your hands when we were in the lobby. you did this. What were you seeing? Can you tell me, like, when you opened up the frame, it's so like it was like you pushed open a world. Can you describe what it was like walking into that school and what it looked like?
There's a gate that says Woodstock School, and I remember that because when we arrived there, it was a very, very cold day and a night, in fact. So you have to go to, it's pretty remote. It's in the Himalayas. So you have to fly into Delhi and then take a bus from Delhi to this hill station.
But when we think of you at Woodstock, right? Or do you say the Woodstock School? How do you, so we don't get confused?
I just call
with New
it
York.
Woodstock.
We call it Woodstock.
Yeah.
Do people say, how was Jimi Hendrix? How was Janis Joplin? Did they get confused?
Some people.
Okay. Not all the people. But for you, this was a 4-year experience?
2 years.
2 years. Okay, that was mine as well. 2 full years, and it was completely transformational for you.
Yeah.
So nature, hills, curiosity, peer group, finding...
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So staying in a dorm with, people your age and having all the meals together and hiking in large groups, going out camping. Yeah. So...
And so that...
great.
What did that then determine for you? More alone, more study, more community, more living in nature. How did you get there, or how did you get to your next stop from there?
I think that, I don't know if there was already a seed then in my head, but so first of all, Woodstock was an international school, and approximately a third were from the U.S. students, a third were from the rest of the world, a third from India.
Amazing.
So you get exposed to a lot of different backgrounds and thinking. And I have to say that I was always drawn to the students from the U.S.
Why do you think?
I think because they talk back. I'm sorry, but
you like it.
I liked it. I loved it. Those are I felt like in general, there's always, exceptions, but it really struck me that you question things more. That the students at the school
and
who were
verbally,
from the
they
verbally,
right
they challenged the teachers, and whereas it was less so for students from other countries.
Did you go home and cause ripples because you started challenging?
Oh, I've always been kind of doing that. But,
so that you saw that.
Yeah. I felt a sort of a kinship. So when I was still in Burma and Saturday Night Fever came out, and the Burmese government censors what foreign movies are shown. So it was not on the list of movies to be shown.
Which made you want to see it even more.
Well, so we talk about it, right? Something. And then the way that I learned about it was a magazine article written by some rebellious writer. And I remember very clearly they had these thumbnail pictures of, I think it was a series of 3 or so of John Travolta in a white suit dancing. And I remember the description of the movie, and it was that he danced down the street as if he owned it. And I was like, I want to go live in a country where I can dance down the street like I own it.
Yes.
And that planted the seed of going to the U.S.
And we are getting that T-shirt for you. Dance down the street like you own it.
Yes.
And we will wear that together.
Yeah. So I think about that even when I walk down the street with my dog. I was like, okay, I'm dancing down the street like I own it. I have made it here.
Yeah. Yes, and you have no imposter syndrome.
No imposter syndrome.
No, you are rocking that tuxedo, that white flared-legged tuxedo down the street.
Yep. Yeah, but no paint cans though. No. This is the kind of, the environment I want to be in, where you do respect the elders or people who have had more experience or authority, but at the same time, if it doesn't seem right, you question it, right? So I think that made me want to go to college in the U.S. Okay. And Burma being a former British colony, there was a lot of push from my parents to go to England, right? So as opposed to, and we had some relatives in Britain and living there and all of that.
So they were trying to turn you that way. And you said, no, I'm going.
No, I'm going. Well, so the challenge was that if I could apply, so they're not going to help me. basically.
Did they say, we don't support this, we want you to go here if you do this?
We'll give you a ticket, right?
Okay, we'll get you there then. Good luck. Wow.
Yeah, so you find a college, you apply, and you get your own scholarship. We're not going to pay. Right. So, and we'll
I kind of
pay.
like your parents, though.
Yeah. We'll pay if you do what we think is better for you. But if you want to do something else, then...
Did that break your heart?
No, because that was a challenge.
It was a challenge.
It seems totally fair to me. And so...
And at the time, it felt fair to you.
Oh, yeah. It still does now. I think,
It's a good deal. I'm going to take door number 2. I'll take the plane ticket.
Yeah. So that's... I think Woodstock really helped me with that.
That's incredible to have a school. I feel similarly about Interlochen, that all of my friends from there are doing amazing things. It was like we got this incredibly saturated moment to understand ourselves. Yeah. And it feels like so many high schoolers don't get that opportunity. Yeah. Hopefully they get it in college. Yeah. Because they get to go in and they get to be with research. They get to be with more like-minded, questioning folks, whether it's faculty, students, or staff. Yeah. Can you kind of smell a student and be like, ooh, they have the curiosity? Have you spent enough years that you can kind of go, oh, this one is going to be on to something? And then have you watched their career?
Yes and no. I'm always surprised.
You are?
Yeah. So I think I know, but it would turn out that I don't know quite enough, right? Because and smelling for us is looking at the kind of questions they ask, right? But the one issue I find is that you have to know enough to ask questions, right?
Yes.
So, and people come with very different backgrounds. So there can be people who didn't have quite the sufficient background to even ask question, but once given the opportunity and they learn something, then they start to ask really great questions. So I've learned not to make assumptions based on initial interactions. And yeah,
I love that. You want to live with anticipation. Don't make assumptions. I'm writing my book of wisdoms from you. You also talked about with discovery can also come others' disbelief, that folks aren't as smart as you right away, and they've laughed at some of your ideas you've articulated. What was that like to have people, to be so close to something you knew was potent, that you needed partnership, and people just not believing you or believing in your concepts?
I think my upbringing prepared me for that because, as you know, Burma is mostly Buddhist, right? But my mother's side of the family comes from this fishing village where the first Christian missionaries landed. So the whole village is Christian. So we had what you would call interfaith upbringing.
Okay.
Went to Bangladesh, which is a Muslim country. Yeah. Went to India, where there's a lot of religions, including Hinduism and so on. And what I learned was that you may believe that this one entity is God, whereas the other person doesn't. But it doesn't mean that you can't talk. So I think that this different, I have to say there are more people killed for differences in religion than differences in science, right? Yeah. So whatever you feel differently or disagreement or people not believing or not taking you seriously, it sort of pales in comparison with the differences in religious belief and what people would do for that. So certainly I've had my share of being not believed or think that I don't know if this is the episode you're referring to, but when we started making discoveries in the fruit fly, it was very hard to get some of the people who are working in cancer biology to take us seriously. But what I did was just talk to enough people until I found someone
yes, you did.
who would take us seriously enough to start testing some of our findings in cancer models.
And you took yourself in the work seriously enough
absolutely.
To move forward without hearing the noise. Yeah. Because to you, it pales in comparison to the pains that others are causing one another through other disagreements. For you,
right. And also, noise. I have to say that I was cocky enough, if you will, or self-confident enough to realize that what we see is real, and that whoever doesn't really appreciate the relevance of it is more coming from their limited experience.
And we don't need them on the team.
Then because we there was something wrong with what we are doing.
Wow, I love that. I love that strength of knowing, and that really we're going to get the right team members because you believe in your team. That's really critical for you.
Right.
How you shape that. Yeah. If you were a rock band, what would your instrument be? What would you be in the rock? Like you've got this rock band that's getting this research forward.
Yeah, I appreciate you asking this question, but I have such a lack of talent in music that my guitar teacher asked to stop giving me lessons. But this is really sad.
This is so sad.
Yeah. So I try really hard to be musical because I have some people who are musical in the family, and yet I have a very profound lack of musical talent.
So much so that you can't even imagine yourself doing air guitar in front of an imaginary band.
People ask me to stop doing air guitar. That's
like your air guitar sounds brutal.
Yeah, that's right. Please stop.
Stop with the air guitar.
So I don't know, but what I'm kind of drawn to is it's the beat. So a drumming. Yeah. So
because you keep the cadence of your research going. Right. You're keeping all the team members going.
That's the closest, but that would be an insult to all the drummers in the world. I'm sorry.
But you do see your lab, but it's even beyond the lab. It's even into your company that you have, that each person has a role that they play.
Yes.
And you really get the best people so you can really trust them to do their thing.
Yes. And also it's very important, I think, to diversify their experience, expertise, and background and the viewpoints. So I think that's how you build a strong team.
I love that. That when we're thinking with diverse viewpoints, you don't want everyone just yesing to you or agreeing with you.
Not at all. In fact, I really love it when people challenge, my team members challenge me because I think the two things. One is I do know some things, but I don't know everything. And I have a certain way of thinking, and it's only when you think differently or come with a different knowledge base that I think together you can synergize and make things better. If you have people on your team who know what you know and think just like you're just going to go at a much slower pace than when you have diversity.
Yeah. I get really nervous around people like you who are doing things that feel so concretely impactful. I get my imposter syndrome. I'm not going to be smart enough to even ask you the questions that could spark something for you. Have you had to deal with imposter syndrome at all? I just have to ask.
I can honestly say no.
Yes, and I love that answer.
I'm sorry. I feel like I should, but
you should not.
No, I do not feel that. And in fact, I feel sometimes just the opposite in that, damn it, I'm not appreciated enough. Yes. But anyways, so I think maybe it comes from both my parents really believing in me as I was growing up. So I have to say I do not feel. And also the other thing that I really enjoy is going to places I'm not familiar with, kind of getting into projects that I don't know too much about. Mm-hmm. So the sense of feeling like I don't know what I'm doing, it's great. Because that's when you learn a lot, and that's when you come up with new things to do. So I guess a two-part answer is I don't feel I never really feel like I don't belong, but I kind of, even when I do, because I'm starting a new project in a new area, I like that sense.
Yeah, you like
it's
that
challenging.
sense. So it's kind of an not belonging, but there's like an unbelonging that excites you towards then finding your way into
because
belong.
I'm going to learn a lot,
Okay, amazing. All right, so now we're going to get into the quick and dirty because I could just keep going and then we're going to have an hour and a half long episode. Okay, so I don't know if you've gotten to listen, but on the Quick and Dirty, it's a game show where you have to answer things quick, but you don't have to be dirty. And you're going to be combining things with and or finding words that have and in them. So I'll give you, like, if I were to say an ideal weekend away from Boulder, you would say hiking and the Rio Grande pyramid. See how I got both an and an and in there? Oh. But you don't have to do both. I know you're going to try to win all of it.
No.
There's no prize.
Just one and is good.
Yeah, one and is good.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you, what's an ideal weekend for you, either in Boulder or away?
Working in the garden, watching some movies, and going for a walk.
I love it. Okay, two plants that really like each other and grow well side by side. Who would you put next to one another?
Two plants?
Plants, yeah.
Okay, so I usually grow tomatoes, eggplants, and basil because then I can put them in the same pot.
You're thinking to the end.
Oh, yeah.
I love that. Is there... as you have Suvita, is that the name?
Suvika.
Suvika. Okay, your company's name is Suvika. With all the things that you're cooking up, can you imagine another company that you would create that had and in it?
Definitely not. No.
Suvika holds it all.
Yes, yeah, and also, this is my kind of foray into taking the research towards the clinic, and I'll be happy if I succeed once, and that would be it. So sorry, no ands there.
No ands there. The end of the and. Okay, a destination that you've traveled a lot.
Yes.
Do you have a destination that you would like to see or go back to, or multiple that you would put together?
I would really like to go back to Antarctica, and fly there because Drake Passage is like, oh my God, I really was thinking that if I just go and jump off this ship, I won't be seasick anymore. So, yes.
So, Antarctica.
Yeah, Antarctica and flying there.
I love that answer. You, I meant to ask you this earlier because you're really kind of funny. Do you know that you're funny? And do you have do you have a comedian or that you listen to, or do you read things that are funny? What has influenced your humor? And you could maybe with an and in the middle.
I saw that a question in the list, and I was really surprised because I do not consider myself funny. But I do enjoy watching humor shows, if you will. Yeah. So, for example, I tend to be like Colbert Report and John Oliver, that kind of, funny, but also kind of like critical.
Yes.
Yeah.
Love it. And they certainly folks who are going to ask the questions and kind of fight back and give it to a system. Yeah. You're down with that.
Yes.
Yeah. A list of systems that you would like to take down personally.
A list of systems. I think the healthcare industry is, in a lot of ways, is profit-driven and not enough patient-focused. And I would like to take that down, and also the insurance system, because, again, it's profit-focused, but when you do need insurance, it's because you're in trouble. And so there are some systems that should, I think, be nonprofit.
Yeah. Well, I love that. Okay, questions that are making you curious in your lab right now.
We discovered a few years back that when tissues regenerate after damage, some of the cells will basically shapeshift. They will switch their identity so that they can fill in for the neighbors, basically. And so we are trying to understand, A, how do they know to do that? And B, how do they do that? And so that's a big question in the lab. And we have some hints that we're following up.
That sounds like a sci-fi premise.
I think a lot of science is like sci-fi, but because it's so interesting and sometimes unexpected.
That's right.
Yeah.
And the creativity it takes to both think with that kind of brain and then write those stories. You're living that right now.
Yes.
That's super exciting. All right, this is our last question. You're going to offer up a blessing. You're going to offer up a charge. You're going to offer up and may you, to your students, to a mentee, to our listeners, into the world, what would you give as your offering that begins with and?
I hope that you have the health and the community and the resources to follow the path that you want for yourself in your life.
That was Tin Su, professor of molecular, cellular, and developmental biology at the University of Colorado Boulder. For more on Tintin's research and company, please see our show notes. The Ampersand is a production of the College of Arts and Sciences at the University of Colorado Boulder. It is written and produced by me, Erika Randall, and Tim Grassley. If there are people you'd like us to interview on the Ampersand, do please email us at asinfo@colorado.edu. Our theme music was composed and performed by Nelson Walker, and the episodes are recorded at Interplay Recording in Boulder, Colorado. I'm Erika Randall, and this is the Ampersand.